was extremely scary. You go from thinking, okay, there's a hole, that's scary, especially when the doctor calls you in the same day to tell you alarm bells go off, you fear the worst. Uh, but you just we just felt a peace about it. I can't say that I ever forgot that God created him and that if God created him.
Hi, Michelle.
Hey,
Well, welcome to Navigating Life podcast.
thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
So, I was born and raised in Louisiana, and I came to school here briefly at MD Anderson, where I became a radiation therapist, which means I delivered radiation to cancer patients. Met my husband, moved back to Louisiana. He is in oil and gas, so eventually our family, we were transferred here, believing it was for his job, that God intended us to be here for that, not knowing later on what we would need. And so whenever we moved here, I did become a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
Started baking, doing things like that for a creative outlet.
That's
And
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got to meet.
Overview.
I'm glad we got to meet, through our kids.
Yeah,
Through our kids that were the same age.
that's right.
So I know you've experienced some challenging phase in your family. So would you share with us a little bit about that story and that
Okay.
journey, how that looked like?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, we were living in Louisiana and we were transferred here to the Houston area to be closer to his job. And, when you're moving, you're kind of like, God, please, like, put a neon sign in the neighborhood we're supposed to be in. Like, show us exactly what home we're supposed to be in. Of course, he does not do that. But you kind of just pray the whole time you're in his will. You're moving where you should be, things like that. And so we did. We were very happy. We got a great community there. And I guess we moved when my oldest was 4 and our youngest was 1. Well, when our oldest son, who is Blaine, was in first grade, we went to our pediatrician and he heard what he thought at the time was just like a murmur. Blaine is very tall for his age, so it was kind of common. He didn't really seem alarmed about it. And he just kind of said, let's just give it some time. We'll see what happens. So we gave it a year. Within that year, we started noticing his breathing was a little more labored. Um, just kind of thought he was a heavy breather. Still didn't think too much about it. Uh, so we went in when he was then in second grade, the beginning of his second year. And the doctor was like, oh, I hear a double beat. So I really feel like we should get another doctor to see this, get an echocardiogram done, and just kind of see what's going on. Thinking at the time it was going to be maybe a valve issue, something like that. But the extra beat just kind of concerned him. So we ended up going to see a cardiologist, got the echo done, realized that he had a 22 millimeter hole in his heart. So basically, he did not have a wall in between his 2 atriums. There is what we learned apparently 2 flaps when the baby is in the womb that are they don't quite touch or meet. But after birth, those 2 flaps will come together, seal off, and seal those chambers. So the flow is correct in your atrium. Blaine did not have those flaps. So his blood flow was going straight between both atriums, completely flooding out his lungs. His right side of his heart was enlarged from all of the extra flow. It was why he was a heavy breather, because any activity, his body would have to push a lot of blood out, hence the double beat, what he heard. So anyway, so in finding that out, back up, sorry. At first, we did not realize he did not have any wall.
Mhm.
The initial plan, once we saw a cardiologist, another one that was just, again, God ordained, uh, she really was hoping we would be able to do a catheter procedure, put in a device, it would attach, seal it off, and then your body kind of grows over.
Mm.
So we went in for that. He did not have any wall. So then he did end up having to have open heart surgery, where they then took a piece of his pericardial sac and patched it.
Mm.
So
So this, how old was he when the surgery took place?
he was in second grade. It was May of his second grade year.
So tell us a little bit about, what was going through your head, like, your mind, and when you heard all these things and, your child has to have an open heart surgery.
Right,
Like, what
right.
was going through and how did you process that?
Oof. Not good at times, fine at others. It was a complete surprise. We had no idea it was coming, had no idea anything was wrong. Uh, so I think, though, that from the minute that we found out that anything was happening, we just started to then put pieces together of how God had already worked out where we were, our location. We were going to need the Houston Medical Center, Texas Children's, things that we didn't know we were going to need when we moved here. We had amazing friends in the neighborhood we picked whose child had gone through major heart surgery. They were able to walk us through, help us process things. Um, it was extremely scary. You go from thinking, okay, there's a hole, that's scary, especially when the doctor calls you in the same day to tell you alarm bells go off, you
Yeah.
fear the worst. Uh, but you just we just felt a peace about it. I can't say that I ever forgot that God created
Mm.
him, and that if God created him, he loved him more than I ever could. So I'll be so so it was remembering that, um, and realizing that God had orchestrated so many pieces together for us with friends and support. And one of my friends ended up being a nurse in Sugarland area, and she is the one who got us in with her cardiologist immediately. And that was just a blessing. It's a childhood friend that happens to live in the same area as you, not too far, and she is able to usher you into her doctor, who she trusts, who she knows is amazing. And so it was like every little corner we turned, God had something waiting for us. Thinking that it was a catheter, we were like, okay, this will be fine. It'll be a device. But then finding out, sorry, we couldn't do the surgery. He has to have open heart surgery. Was scary, but then it's like God automatically brought in the thought of, but if he has open heart surgery, he won't have a strange device in his heart. Like, now it's going to be all him. So now it's like just his body healing his body. So then there was even a peace that came with that. So, it was just seeing God around every corner.
Yes. So, so he had the surgery. He was in second grade, and so what happened next?
After the open heart surgery.
Yes.
So then he was on just restrictions for a couple of months. Um, like he couldn't swim, things like that. Um, which for a kid is no fun when you're having to lay around. But our church at the time had provided him with tons of Lego sets. So he was good to go with Legos and movies. And after that, it was just kind of doctor's appointment checkups. He cannot play contact sports. He does have wires in his sternum that he has to watch. They're permanent. So since his sternum is already weak, she didn't want contact sports. So no football, which was fine for his mom.
Mhm.
But other than that, no restriction.
So while you were going through this, difficult phase, how did your support system look like?
So I come from a very strong family, and my husband as well. So we, of course, had a natural built-in family, strong faith, and so that was definitely a gift and a blessing. But even friends and family we had in Louisiana, along with friends we had met through church here, our church group, were just amazing faith-based people that came just right alongside us and prayed with us. And we knew that it wasn't just us praying for our little boy. We had so many people praying with us. And I think that that was super comforting and something that you just can't explain
Yes.
until you experience it.
Yes, absolutely. And so, would you tell us? I know we talked about that, but what is this condition called? What Blaine had?
His was an ASD, atrial septum defect.
So that
Yes.
people
Sorry,
will.
forgot that. Yeah.
um, and tell us a little bit about that. The
Yeah.
composition book you have.
So yeah, you had, kind of asked about like how we coped or things like that, what we did. So my husband's an engineer and he has a very engineer brain. And his comfort and his way of coping, I think, was to create a journal for Blaine. And so in this, see, but he has super tiny writing, but he has got everything kind of listed with cards, and he would bring this to every single appointment that we went to. And the whole time we were talking to the doctor, he would be writing down word for word everything they said, every question we wanted asked. Um, if Blaine asked something, it's in here. It just has so many steps and details. It's fun to see. He detailed all the visitors we had, um, just Blaine's experience from his friends. He has a few cards in here from his friends. Uh, but it's just super helpful because now Blaine is older. He does not remember the details of his surgery. He doesn't know what to say to doctors, but we can hand him this book, say everything you need to know about medicine interactions, things like that. It is all detailed in here.
Such a beautiful gift to
Yeah,
give.
yeah. Because it's interesting too, because it walks through us thinking it was going to be the catheter
Mm.
and all the questions we asked about that, finding out that's not going to be successful, that we have to do open heart. So it really just, you can even see like the progression of things. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. So
Mhm.
I know it's been a long journey, right?
Mhm.
So he was in second grade and he's a senior in
He is
high
a
school
senior
now.
now. Oh, yeah. So this is the year we get set free from his cardiologist. We've
Okay.
made the 10-year mark. And so he will go in soon. We need to schedule it for his last appointment.
So
And he will
exciting.
be good to go.
So
Yeah.
exciting.
Mhm.
So, this whole journey of is 10 years,
Years.
10-year
Mhm.
journey. So how did your like appointments look like? How often did you have to go after the first surgery? Did he have any more surgeries or?
No more surgeries. I believe we may have gone back for like a 1 month checkup.
Okay.
I should have looked in the book.
That's
It's in
okay.
the book. um, and then I know we probably had like a 1 year, and then there was a 3 year, a 5 year, and then there was a big break.
So how does, like Blaine, I know, I'm asking, not you, but how did this affect Blaine, you think, this journey?
It's interesting from his perspective because he was so young.
Yeah.
And so like when he is doing scholarship applications and saying, "Tell us about yourself," Jim and which is my husband, our automatic thing that we think about is his heart journey. Like to us, that's the biggest thing that happened in his life. It's not the biggest thing that happened in his life. To him, it's just part of his story. He doesn't think anything of it. It wasn't life altering to him because he was so little. And I think we tried not to scare him. We tried to be frank with him, but not alarm him, I guess,
Mhm.
and not make it any bigger than it was.
Mhm.
Um, and so if you ask him about it, he's just kind of matter of fact of, yeah, I have a scar, I had heart surgery, meh, it's fixed. I'm good.
It's a great
So
attitude to
I
have
know it's crazy. We're like, really? This was life altering for us as
for us.
parents.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Your child going through something,
Yes, you just feel like so helpless, like you're
yeah,
supposed to protect them and you didn't feel like you didn't protect. Or as a mom, was it something I did during pregnancy that something went wrong?
yes,
Like there's just so many things that come into play in your heads
yes,
when it's just the way it was.
yeah. I know.
It's just part of his journey.
Absolutely, because I feel like, we do think that, as parents and as moms, those self-doubts,
Hmm.
that, negative self-talk,
Right.
if you get in, like, if you let it in, it will lead you down the rabbit hole, right?
Right.
But just to reframe your mind, especially in these, difficult situations, and say, you know what, just reframing it.
Hmm.
Like, for Blaine, it's no big deal. And that's
Yeah.
that's so amazing
Yeah.
to, but to see also, hey, so much good that has come out of
Mhm.
this journey,
Yeah.
right? Not just I feel like we went in the dark times is when we really grow.
Right.
We grow, we learn. Um, and if it doesn't kill us,
Right.
right,
Yeah.
it'll make us stronger. And
Hmm.
that is absolutely the truth. And so, would you tell us a little bit about, what are some things that you learned from this journey?
I think some of the big things, I we hate moving. It is not our thing. We have friends that love to move all the time. We like go kicking and screaming, especially when I was by my family there and having to move away. And it's like, oh God, like what?
Mm.
But I think it ended up being such a blessing and such a gift to see how God orchestrated the plan for our lives. And I think even though I wouldn't have chosen to go through heart surgery, I think that it was such a gift to see how God would work personally for us. And it's something that some people maybe don't ever experience. But we got to truly see God's work. And I always say it's sort of like there was a big puzzle we didn't even know existed. And God was putting all these little pieces together to the smallest detail, like the big details of the big medical center to the little details of friendships and exactly who we were going to need to surround us at that time. Like he just put all of these pieces together to make this beautiful puzzle for Blaine and this beautiful journey in his story. And he's still using him. And I've always felt like God has great things for Blaine.
Mhm.
And I think that him going through that and us seeing how God laid that out for him just shows me that he does. And
Mhm.
he takes care of us. And
Absolutely.
sometimes we don't see those, but they exist.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, would you tell us what is something that you like about yourself? A unique trait that you're proud of?
Oof. It's never easy to say for me.
Yeah.
I think what I try to be is just open and honest and real. Um, I would like for people, my friends, to look at me and say, she is who she is, and she's not going to put on airs. She is going to be open to friendships, open to you being real with her. Just try to be myself and who God created me.
I love that. Being real. I feel like um it's great to have those surrounding ourselves, with people that are
Yeah.
real. So I'm glad. Yes,
I always
absolutely.
say I'm not really good at pretending, so I would not survive if I had to like pretend to be someone else.
So what is a trait that you respect in other people?
I think I just kind of navigate to friends that are the same.
Mm.
Uh, I have been so blessed everywhere we've lived to have friends that are real, they're genuine. They just are some great moms, some great friends, and they're going to show you who they are and love you for who you are, not expect anything.
Just being authentic.
Yeah,
Just being
authentic. Yeah,
just being
exactly.
authentic. What motivates you?
I think my family. I think since I do stay at home, I feel like that is a big part of my world is my family.
I definitely feel like you're doing life well.
Well,
Really
it's
well.
not perfect.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, this is the whole point, right? I tell people that I'm a recovering perfectionist.
Yes.
So, perfectionism is not something we should aspire for. Spirit of excellence, absolutely, but we're not perfect.
Right.
None of us are.
Yeah.
And so, just being, when I say be authentic, it's this is with everything,
Yeah.
all the mess and
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
This is who we are. So,
Laugh at yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously.
absolutely. And it's okay to make mistakes.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. And what is next for you?
Next for me is a kid going off to college. So this kid that we've talked about, we are waiting to see currently where he will be. And so adjusting to that life of you've kind of dictated and helped take him to all of his doctor's appointments and everything. And now he's going to be on his own and won't be living here. So
Does
that is
that,
the new journey.
yes, I know I can relate because
Right.
our kids are seniors and a couple more months off to college.
Yeah.
Do you think you're ready to
No,
let go?
not at all. My friends that have done it already just laugh, but no, I'm not. I don't think their dad is any more prepared for this.
But I think we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, I'm ready in the sense that Blaine was born for college. He was born an old soul. So I am ready to see him flourish and thrive. I'm so excited for him. I think he's going to live his best life.
He's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean, he's amazing.
Totally biased, but I
Yes.
agree. So I'm excited to see the next chapter for him,
Yes.
but not ready.
Not ready, but we have to be ready.
Yes. Ready or not.
Ready or not, absolutely. Would you tell us a little bit about your self-care, practice or anything that kind of helps you to kind of balance, the stresses in life? How do you manage that? How do you navigate? What do you do?
As a mom, I think we all fail in this sometimes. At least I do. I forget to put myself first sometimes and treat myself to that facial or, the girly things. So I try to do that once in a while. Other than that, it's really just saying to friends, girlfriends, hey, we haven't gone to lunch in a while. Can we hang out? And it's so just replenishes you. And so really trying, I think relationships are just huge to me, that social interaction. Of course, baking, creative outlet.
Yeah. Finally, would you share with us this the journey with ASD, right? ASD and your son, and what lessons have you learned, and what tips would you like to share with our audience if someone that's watching that is going through something similar or is in a difficult place? What tips would you have for them?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've already talked about the journal, which is a great one. If you have a kid going through this, I would say that's number one.
Yes.
'Cause they'll leave your house one day and you won't remember and they won't know.
It's a great tip.
I think, as we've also already discussed, trusting God's plan, looking for it, looking for those God, winks, and seeing how He's working in your life gives you peace. I think also what I haven't really yet talked about is allowing your emotions to shift. Um, I think sometimes we get so into how our faith should look and we should be so strong and we shouldn't get emotional, which we've already seen. I'm emotional. But that, we should feel like God has Blaine and fear should not enter the picture. And I think that when we get into that, then it's not good. I think admitting sometimes that you're fearful is perfectly fine. Um, there were moments where doubt did creep. Um, I had ugly cries in my closet multiple times. We cried in front of Blaine. I don't mean that we definitely showed emotion in front of him, and that was important too. I think he didn't need to see that, oh, my parents are never upset about this. Like, I think it's very important for your kids to be honest with them and let them see that side.
Yes.
But he maybe didn't need to see the ugly cries in the closet where you're just so overwhelmed. Um, but I think those were important and those were open and honest. And I think talking to my friends about that and talking to my parents or just being open to others about when they would say, how are y'all doing? Saying, today is not so great. Today I am scared, I'm nervous. And then let them pray for you. Let them be there for you. I think that's another thing too, is letting others pour into you.
Mm.
I am more comfortable the opposite. I like to be the one to be there for people. It's more comfortable for me. It is not comfortable for me to receive that. So I think being vulnerable, and I think it blesses them just like it blesses you. So surrounding yourself with those people and letting people into your journey, into your life, uh, letting them walk beside you with that. So
Yeah, thank you
if
so
those
much.
make sense.
Absolutely. Thank you so much because definitely, I say that, surrounding yourself with authentic people,
Yeah.
real people,
Yeah.
and community is something that, go if you're not plugged in, go find some,
It's so important.
so
So important.
important, especially when you're going through a challenging phase.
Yeah.
You want people that will pour into you, that will
Mhm.
be there for you, even just giving you, a meal or
Mhm.
just giving you that rest when you're in the hospital, right? Like
Yeah.
surrounding yourself with. I think we were made for community. We were not
Absolutely.
made to
Yeah.
live alone,
Mhm.
do life by ourselves. So thank you for taking the time
Yeah.
and sharing your story with us. Really inspired. I love to hear stories, of especially people navigating, challenging phases and then coming out the other end,
Yeah.
and this is the whole point of this channel is give hope,
Yeah.
show you how we did it.
Right.
We're not perfect.
I was gonna say, know that it's not gonna be perfect. There's gonna
Right.
be bumps.
Yes,
Yeah.
but we did it. Hopefully, did it well, right?
We
Hopefully,
survived it.
we survived it. But somebody that is in that shoe right now can see and say, "Well, I can do it too.
Right.
I'm not alone in this, and you know,
Yeah.
we can do it. We can fight this. And remember, everyone is fighting a battle,
Right.
right? Everyone is fighting a battle. We may not everybody may be bold as to come on and share their story,
Yeah.
right? But they're fighting a battle. So
Yeah.
being kind um, to others
Mhm.
and being understanding, being that authentic person. I keep saying like, let me be that authentic person
Mhm.
first.
Right.
So thank you, Michelle. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed our talk and really, enjoyed getting to know you more.
Yeah.
And all the best wishes
Thank
for
you.
him. And so thank you. We'll see you all next time.